Welcome back. Well, today we're focusing on one of the foundations to a successful garden. And okay, I'm not going to say dirt, okay, because I know that is a four-letter word in the gardening world. So we are talking soil today. Scott Baker from Virginia Cooperative Extension in Bedford is here to give us all the soil.
There you go.
Just kidding. Just kidding. You're telling us now that, soil is just more than dirt. So what makes it so important as part of our garden success, soil?
Yeah, so the way I think about it is it's really the foundation of everything that we do in the garden, right? Sometimes people just think, well, it's just the stuff we put our plants in, but it's so much more than that. If our soil is healthy, then our plants are going to be healthy, and if our plants are healthy, then they're going to be able to grow better, yield more, but also withstand all the stresses, whether it's weather or insects or diseases. So it's really the foundation, and it's important to give it the credit it deserves.
And so what are some of the steps you can take to prepare your soil?
Sure, so probably the very first thing, if people have not done it, is to get their soil tested, whether they go through our lab at Virginia Tech or some other lab. And the traditional analysis is more just for fertilizer and lime needs, but you can also get it analyzed for the organic matter content, and I highly recommend vegetable gardeners do that because organic matter is really the best way to get healthy soil.
Now, even if you have a raised bed?
Sure, yeah, absolutely. It's really good information to have.
And talk to me about tilling versus not tilling.
Sure, so, and this is primarily as we're talking about in-ground gardens, traditionally people think, oh, I got to plow my garden in the fall, let it set over winter, and that makes it easier to work in the spring, and that is true. But like many things, it has pros and cons. So tilling is good for that. It allows you to plow under weeds, last year's debris, smooth out the garden. The downside is when we till, we actually can destroy that organic matter faster and break up the structure. So if people are going to till, which is fine, I like to recommend that they're continually adding more organic matter to compensate for that loss.
And then also amendments as well. They're really vital, right, to your soil?
Yes, and again, it's about equipping that soil to provide for optimum growing conditions for your plants. So whether that's fertilizer or lime, or all the other things that we think about that I think are very, very important, which are the various types of organic matter, compost or leaves, shredded up newspaper. It's amazing, anything that's carbon-based you can work into your garden and it'll make it better over time.
Absolutely. So I brought some things in that I use in my garden and I wanted your approval for them. I said, as long as I get Scott Baker's approval. So these are some of the fertilizers that I use, and you say these are good to use.
Sure, yeah.
As amending to put into your soil.
Yeah, so they provide nutrients, plant nutrients for the plant to grow, but they're also in an organic form, so you'll get some extra benefit from the microorganisms and other things that are in that.
And that's mostly fish. The other thing too is worm castings.
Worm castings.
As well, those are here. That's one thing. So word castings, that is just maybe worm waste, right?
Sure.
Is that a nice way to say it?
That's a nice way to say it, yeah.
Worm waste. And then along with that, we talked about composting. I brought some of my compost as well. I wanted to show you. So I do what is called vermicomposting. So this is with worms. Also, you get the compost from the worm waste, right? And it also helps with my waste, like all the food waste in my, and where I live. Oh, so there we go.
Oh, look at that, yeah.
Look at those beautiful worms.
Yeah, and that's a very specialized type of composting that I think is great. People can do it, even if they live in an apartment. They can get self-contained units. Like you said, it's a way to get rid of your kitchen waste, let the worms eat it up for you, and make that wonderful compost for your garden.
Okay, so real quick, we only have about 30 seconds. We have two different types of soil here. So one is bad and one is good. Can you show us? Can we get show us which one you're going to show us first?
Sure. So this is just the native soil from out behind the station here, and this is not too bad, but you can see, because most of our soils in this part of Virginia are very clay-based, which makes them heavy. So they basically just form a ball, and that's not great soil structure. But when you add organic matter like you've got over there, you can really turn it into something like this, which is much more, we call it friable. It's easy to dig through, it's easy to plant into, and it's just much more healthy. So we can take what we've got native and we can improve it and turn it into something that's even better.
Beautiful. All right. So Scott Baker with the Virginia Cooperative Extension, thanks so much for giving us all the soil.
Thank you. That makes me smile. Yeah.
All the soil and improving our garden for this season. Stick around, we'll be right back.